weak pulse, around 50 beats per minute. But you're dying, Holmes. Your pulse rate is dropping. We need to get you to the hospital immediately.
The antidote. Give it to me.
The antidote? You mean that you're poisoned?
Now. Please.
Here, drink it all. Don't tell me that you did this to yourself.
Hemlock and datura. I was compelled to.
Holmes, imagine if I'd not returned home when I did. What might have happened?
I knew that you would.
Mr. Holmes, Inspector Lestrade is here to see you.
Mr. Holmes is unable to see anyone at the moment. He is unwell.
A good day, Inspector.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. I'm glad to find you here. I need your help. This is a strange one. We have brought in 2 young bankers from the city, sons of lords, members of the Chamber, and so on and so forth. They were found stranded in a rowing boat that was drifting on the Thames.
A romantic escapade with an unhappy ending, Lestrade.
What? Well, yes, they were both in the bath, but... what?
As I said,
And they were tied together.
you are lacking in imagination, Inspector.
Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, there was a banner flapping about in the boat with the RMS Oceanic printed on it and signed by the Merry Men.
The Oceanic. Isn't that the largest steamer ever built?
Yes. And these 2 young banker chaps are sons of the owners of the White Star Line, the company that built it. There are rumours of corruption.
I'm not interested in politics, Lestrade.
I'll keep it then. Here's another one that's a bit more complex and maybe to your liking. It's a murder, but we're unable to find any weapon. We haven't touched anything. It's at the Roman Baths in Strand Lane.
A murder, a vanishing weapon, the Roman baths. That's for us. Watson, fetch your hat.
Beautiful place.
With a dreadful murder. The body of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe is still in the steam room. It has not been touched, per your usual instructions, Mr. Holmes. I shall be waiting for you here, but please hurry.
Are you able to identify the men who were with the victim in the steam room?
Yes. The manager of the bath, Sir Gregory Pitkin, a lad from the City Council, Garrow, and an archaeologist by the name of Blinkhorn. I think the plump one, Garrow, did it. He doesn't seem right in the head.
Well, we shall see. Was there anyone else here, apart from those gentlemen in the steam room?
Yes, a Mr. Phillips. He was the one who called the police. He'll be able to give you more details.
You found no murder weapon?
No, and that's why I called you. All 3 witnesses and the victim were locked in when the murder occurred, and they remained so until we got here. We even had to pick the lock to enter.
I see. Good day to you, Mr. Phillips. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. Watson. Would you be so kind as to answer our questions?
Certainly, sir.
Please tell us the chain of events from the start of your day. Everything that you can remember. The slightest detail may be of importance.
Very well, sir. I came in at 6:30 this morning, and I opened the baths. I made sure that the room was clean, and I prepared the towels. The brazier was still burning.
There was a fire burning all night.
Yes, Sir Gregory ordered me to light the brazier yesterday. It takes some time until the room is fully heated. The gentleman had a meeting at 9 o'clock this morning. I wanted everything to be perfect. They'd been in the steam room for 20 minutes when I suddenly heard shouting. I ran to the door, but it was closed. I couldn't open it. So I ran out to the street to call for the police. One constable came up, and then there were others, and they picked the lock. Then Inspector Lestrade came along, and he told us that nothing should be touched.
Did you receive any other visitors this morning?
No one. Until these gentlemen arrived. Sir Gregory was the first. And then, while we were discussing work details, Sir Rodney and Mr. Blinkhorn arrived, and Mr. Garrow followed.
What happened after that?
I waited until they'd all entered the steam room, then I returned to the hall. The changing room door was open, so I should hear if they needed anything.
You would have heard if someone had entered or left the steam room.
Certainly, sir. These doors make a lot of noise.
Well, the steam room's on the other side, Mr. Holmes. Well, the steam room's on the other side, Mr. Holmes.
These clothes belong to one of the suspects from the steam room. Clothes belonging to one of the suspects. Expensive clothes belonging... Champagne for a special occasion. Unopened, it was intended to be enjoyed after the steam session. Champagne for a special occasion. An ice bucket to keep the champagne chilled.
Lord, Holmes.
Death with a peculiarly Roman piquancy.
Like the one you almost had an hour ago.
Let us forget about that.
There was only one hit from the weapon. It pierced the right eye straight through to the brain. Death would have been instantaneous.
Some dirt or earth. I'll take a sample.
Well, death is very recent, between 30 minutes to 1 hour ago.
Look, Watson. He was wearing a ring. He very likely removed it before the steam session. The wound should not have bled so profusely. This pool is rather large. I think we have found all that we can here, taking into consideration the abysmal lighting. Constable, we have finished with the body.
We don't have many leads here.
What concerns me is that we still have to find the murder weapon.
Mr. Holmes?
Please have the body removed without disturbing anything else in the room.
All right, Mr. Holmes.
I was wondering, Holmes, it's fairly reckless to carry out a murder inside a closed chamber. Why do you suppose they did it?
There are a great many possibilities. The murderer was in a hurry, or he is an artist, or a ghost, or he wanted to ensure that I'd be brought in on the case.
Probably the latter. You are ridiculous. Do you know that?
I should check this blood sample at Baker Street. This key was covered in blood. I should ask Phillips about it. The brazier is still burning. The heat here is extreme. It is too hot. I cannot reach into it. I will need something to pick up this melted metal. One lens is cracked, probably due to the temperature of the brazier. These lenses are for myopia. The wearer is short-sighted.
Mr. Holmes?
Blood traces wiped on the towel.
It's horrible. So Rodney, he's dead. I'm in shock. I don't want to talk.
It's horrible. I can't talk at the moment.
When Garrow found Sir Rodney dead, he wiped the blood upon himself. A phial with herbs. Do you know what it is, my dear fellow?
It's the St. John's wort flower, Holmes. It's commonly used as a drug against melancholia. However, an overdosage might lead to a rash or even hallucinations.
An embroidered silk handkerchief. A fountain pen with solid gold trim. Sir Gregory Pitkin's visiting card. An ordinary pencil. a hand-drawn map. This ring was most likely the one that Sir Rodney wore. He removed it before entering the steam room. An Egyptian symbol. It is a very old jewel. I see the join. This ring was repaired, and quite badly too, with silver.
Why on earth would they wear such a ring?
A very pertinent question. An old and rather dirty coin. Rodney Bentcliffe's notebook. It may contain something of interest. The last pages were torn out. We must find a way of retrieving Sir Rodney's last lines. Watson, please prevent anyone from entering the room. But first, fetch me a pencil. To begin with, a few strokes of the pencil will be enough. I don't want to damage the traces. And then to gently smudge the leftover pencil marks with a handkerchief. I'm sure that Watson won't mind if I use his.
Mr. Holmes, the coroner... But what are you doing? Tampering with the evidence?
I prefer to make them talk. Today, I almost found it. This date will go down in history. Sir Rodney was about to make an outstanding discovery.
Wonderful.
I could retrieve only the final words. The rest of it is lost. Perhaps the autopsy will assist us in that matter.
I'm not sure that I can allow you to inspect the body now.
I am sure that you must, Constable.
Well...
Locked.
According to the coroner, there were no cardiac problems nor lung congestion, but there were traces of fungus, possibly contracted from the Egyptian tombs. An unusual wound, inflicted by a curved knife. which resulted in instant death, as the coroner's report says. The coroner observed no stomach nor liver disease, if we're to accept that Sir Rodney was an occasional drinker and 63 years of age.
Some light bruising caused by a rope. The bruising is in lines. They were caused by a rope around the waist. Sir Rodney was descending somewhere. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. A good day to you. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
I am Tristram Garrow.
What is your occupation?
I am a counsellor at the district chamber.
And what were you doing at the baths?
Well, I follow the researches. I am interested in archaeology.
You follow them?
Yes. So many things happened and we need to know. Or perhaps it's better hidden.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Garrow.
I meant nothing by that. I apologise.
What was it like to work with Sir Rodney?
It was like working with a genius. He was a hard man, but then, you know, this world is hard. There are always people who want to steal from you. And he He trusted me, but, oh,
Are you feeling unwell?
I'm sorry. It is I remember. Oh, I feel so sorry.
Do you need anything?
I feel bad. I hear... No, nothing. I'm better now.
Please try to recall what you saw today.
The room was so hot, I had to remove my glasses. I was not feeling so very well in there.
But you found the body.
I saw the knife, you know, flying through the air. I saw the blood. I tried to escape. I don't remember.
Saw the knife? What did it look like?
Everything was as if in a nightmare. It all happened so fast. The knife was shining like gold.
Had Sir Rodney exhibited any recent strange behaviour?
Well, he had been rather secretive these past few days. Last Thursday, for example, I saw him leave. When he returned, it was very late. He showed me some wet coins, Roman coins, and he started to laugh. This is the coin that he showed me. It is from the 3rd century.
It must be very rare.
No, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. This will help me to calm down.
Do be careful with the dosage.
I will.
I mean it. Did you place the bottle of champagne in the changing room?
What? No. His ring! Oh, it should be destroyed.
Why do you say that?
It is a cursed ring, digging dark secrets.
Really?
It is after me now. I know it. I shouldn't have worked on it in the workshop. It's too late now.
Garrow appears to be rather mentally disturbed. Either that or he is a good actor. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Good day to you, Sir Gregory. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the murder that took place this morning. Would you mind answering a few questions?
Tell me, Mr. Holmes, will I need to stay here for very much longer?
You are the manager of the baths, is that correct?
Yes, I'm passionate about archaeology. I wanted to restore the ruins. My ambition is to open the baths to the public. Living archaeology can be a profitable business, although now I'm not so sure.
I see. When do you wish to begin using the baths?
When the archaeological researches are over, I will be free to complete the restoration. It is the usual process.
What was your relationship with Sir Rodney Bentcliffe?
We were not particularly close. He had an unpleasant temperament, suspicious, authoritarian, unkind. People possessed by genius may be forgiven for their nature, but not by me.
Was he obstructive?
Not at all. Everything he did led us to greater success. He helped us increase the potential of the building.
How was the work progressing before Sir Rodney's arrival?
Rather slowly, I would say.
Sir Gregory, could you please explain this letter? You expressed the wish to call off the research work at the baths.
It was all about Blinkhorn. He was merrily digging away and taking very little care about it, ruining everything and finding nothing of any value.
But the arrival of Sir Rodney changed your mind?
Sir Rodney's work was extremely promising, and it was good for the bath's publicity. So yes, I changed my mind.
Please tell me what happened this morning.
The test that we performed this morning was a success. The steam was working well. Then, of course, that awful murder.
What did you see?
The steam was too thick to see anything. But ask Garrow. He saw the body first.
Had Sir Rodney exhibited any recent strange behavior?
Look, I'm not a suspicious fellow, but I think that he had professional interests elsewhere that he did not wish us to know about.
Why should you think that? Where?
I have no idea. But after all, it was not my business.
Are you aware that Mr. Garrow is under a form of medication?
Garrow? No. But I never liked that parasite.
Do you believe him to be capable of murder?
Well, he did have blood on him. Does that make him a murderer?
Did you bring a bottle of champagne to the baths?
Absolutely not. Sir Rodney did, I think.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I am assisting the police with their investigation of the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
Not at all, Mr. Holmes. My name is Percival Blinkhorn.
What is your occupation?
I'm an archaeologist, specializing in the Roman period. I'm working on several excavation sites at present, including the baths at Strand Lane.
Can you tell me more about the baths?
Well, we're hoping to retrieve a great many interesting artifacts from the site, and to list any items of value before their eventual restoration and exhibition.
And has it been successful?
It has, thanks to Sir Rodney.
What was your relationship with Sir Rodney?
Well, I couldn't say that he was a kind man, no. But he was talented. I felt a great admiration for him, I must say.
Was it your first collaboration?
I had met Sir Rodney briefly once in Egypt, and I'd shared my researches with him. Surprisingly, my work did convince him to come here. He arrived only a couple of months ago.
Surprisingly?
Well, Sir Rodney was a cold man, and so very secretive, too. But I learned so much from him. I can't believe that he's dead.
How well were your researches progressing before Sir Rodney's arrival?
Rather well.
This letter reveals that Sir Gregory was prepared to put a stop to your work.
Yes. But since Sir Rodney's arrival, he had calmed down. He allowed us to work. I'm not sure what they agreed on.
What will happen now that Sir Rodney is dead?
Well, I haven't thought about that. But if it's needed, I will fight to defend Sir Rodney's expectations.
Can you tell me what you saw today?
Well, we entered the steam room and we all went to sit down. The steam was particularly dense, and I didn't see anything much further after that. I just heard Mr. Garrow shouting, but we all ran for the door and bumped into each other. I was very alarmed by this point.
What did you do?
Well, the door was stuck, and with all the steam, it was quite frightening. I was barely able to see my own feet. Garrow was covered in blood.
Do you believe that Garrow killed Sir Rodney?
Oh, no. Garrow couldn't harm a fly.
Can you recall any recent event that would occur to you now as being a little strange?
Well, yesterday we had a small argument.
Is that all?
No. Sir Rodney informed me that he was to attend the London Archaeological Congress with me. Then he advised me of quite the opposite. And rather aggressively, too.
What can you tell me about Garrow?
Well, he always looks so sad. And he has been acting strangely lately. He complains about voices and visions. I will keep an eye on him because I'm worried.
Do you recognize this ring?
Certainly. It's the famous Aswan ring. Sir Rodney brought it back from his last campaign in Egypt.
And he kept it for himself?
Sir Rodney has had his own particular ideas of archaeology.
Did you place the bottle of champagne in the changing room?
No, I did not.
Watson, pack your bag. We are visiting a location in St. Albans marked on Sir Rodney's map. This archaeological site has been abandoned. Why did Bentcliffe come here? The door has been left open. Someone did not care or was in haste. This is the map of the site. We are at the heart of an old Roman city. The Cyclops, a one-eyed creature helping Vulcan at the forge. Vulcan, the god of fire and metalworking. Construction hooks. Construction hooks. It is a broken statue of a bull. It is a statue of Minerva. Neptune, the god of the sea. This is the map of the site. We are at the heart of an old Roman city. The gastrofetes were used with ropes and hooks for sieges. This is a reproduction of an ancient Greek crossbow. This is a reproduction of an ancient Greek crossbow. The gastrofetes were used with ropes and hooks for sieges. This railway is used to remove rubble from the site. This wall was covered with mud recently. What could be hidden here? Excavating tools, a bucket, shovel, and brush. I don't need the ropes for now. I can see now. Frigidarium. It is located at the Roman Baths in London. Someone took the time to hide the fresco, but what for? I need to visit this place. tools used by archaeologists in their research. I will need these tongs. Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. A shape has been cut in the plate. What should be done with it? Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. A glass plate negative is missing. It is a glass plate negative of an Egyptian statue. Glass plate negatives, a remarkable method for recording ancient civilizations. It is a mold, and it is ready for casting. The mold is prepared for casting. We just need to fill it with certain material. Sir Rodney has made a reconstruction of the mythical golden knife. He seemed unafraid of maledictions, and yet... The mold is prepared for casting. We just need to fill it with certain material. Half a glass of water should be enough to create a plaster solution. Now let us see what we have here.
This knife is very similar to that described by the coroner as the weapon that killed Sir Rodney.
You should not leap to any hasty conclusions, Watson. The mold is hot. I should wait for it to cool down. Done. Now I can proceed further. A homemade silver knife. Excellent. We have created a knife with the silver that we found. It could have been used to kill Sir Rodney.
It was extremely clever to create a weapon that could dissolve at the scene of the crime.
My archive. I can always consult with it if need. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. What can you tell me about Mithras?
Oh, so much. It was the core of our work. Why do you ask?
Were you seeking the golden knife?
I see you are an amateur. Yes, the golden knife was our grail. It is said that it bears the only text explaining the ritual of the cult of Mithras.
I understand. I read something about immortality.
A myth. The knife would provide immortality only to the worthy one. And yet it is cursed, and it would kill you if you are not initiated.
Did you expect to find the golden knife at the baths?
Well, Sir Rodney thought that it might be there. Did you observe the knife representations there? They are so extraordinary. And we had hoped that... it is a tragedy that he has passed away, taking all of his secrets with him. As soon as I've been released, I will continue Sir Rodney's researches in his memory.
We discovered some melted silver in the brazier. Did you put it there?
No. Silver, you say? No, I don't know how it got there.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. The paintings in the baths are focused on Mithras, I understand.
Yes, they are what make this place remarkable.
And that is why Sir Rodney came here?
He believed that the golden knife, which is an ancient ritual item, was hidden somewhere around the baths. I admit that it would be wonderful if it were true.
And you are not concerned by the reputation of this artifact?
You mean the curse? Before someone is dead, it is a blessing. After they are dead, well, then it becomes a curse. Ha!
Some melted silver was found inside the steam room brazier. Do you know where it came from?
Silver? No.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Perhaps you could explain the cult of Mithras to me.
No, there is nothing to say. We are not the worthy ones.
But Sir Rodney believed that he was.
He was wrong. I have visions. The golden knife, the mummy. Oh, it's all my fault.
Calm down, Mr. Garrow. We discovered some melted silver in the brazier. Did you put it there?
It didn't help. The power is too strong.
A hidden sign. A symbol. A hidden symbol. Now I have all the clues to help me find where these symbols are leading. All I need is imagination. The signs are pointing to this bust.
What is this place?
I am unsure, Watson, but everything points to the fact that it was the last place visited by Sir Rodney Bentcliffe. We are approaching the end of this mystery.
What should we do next, Holmes?
How very peculiar. An ice maker.
Why would Sir Rodney have brought such a device here?
A broken glass plate. What is it doing here? I should examine it at Baker Street. A sack of crude salt. Mithras, the god, clothed in Anatolian costume and wearing a Phrygian cap, killing the bull. This fresco resembles either a ladder or a hierarchy. The fire casts a shadow upon the floor. It resembles a bull. It resembles a bull. The pillar collapsed a long time ago. This shadow seems to represent a bridge. It is very similar to the face of Mithras. That is the symbol of Neptune, the god of the sea. The shadows show us the way to go. We will find Mithras after Neptune, the bull, and the bridge. Done. Watson, could you please use this negative and your photographic equipment to process the photograph? Thank you, Watson. Now I must use reagents to develop the photograph. Ice cream. Another archaeologist, most probably. Salt. Ice. The pyramids of Giza in Egypt. Sir Rodney. Ice cream in the desert. We are indebted to the Romans who developed the technique.
So that's it. Salt and crushed ice may help to create ice cream.
If I wish to shape the ice knife, then I need to pour water inside the mold. Ice, salt, and then the mixing. It should be elementary. We need to reach -20 degrees Celsius to fully freeze the water inside the mold. Before beginning, I must remember that I have enough ice and salt for no more than 4 attempts. Ice, salt, and then the mixing. It should be elementary. We need to reach -20 degrees Celsius to fully freeze the water inside the mold. Excellent. Now we must check to ensure that it is adequately frozen. An ice weapon for a cold-blooded murder. An ice knife. A surprising and yet a very brilliant idea.
It's the perfect weapon. It enables one to kill a man and then it melts. The only trace it leaves is a small puddle on the ground.
We should use these metal rings to help us reach the bridge pillar. Those rings on the bridge are perfect targets. This one is ready.
Firing a gastrophetes requires a lot of practice.
This one is ready. The bridge is ready. Now I must cross it.
golden knife. But how to get it?
The golden knife of Mithras, a long-lost relic, has resurfaced. Watson, it is time to conclude this case.
I'm feeling rather uncomfortable. Why have I been put into these cuffs?
I fear that you had better get used to them, Mr. Blinkhorn. They are your reward for the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe.
What? No, that's a lie.
It is regrettable, for you are a talented archaeologist. I will request that you are placed in a prison where you are unable to dig an escape tunnel. That is, of course, if they decide that you shall live. The consulting detective who salutes your intelligence in performing the perfect crime, yes, but also the gentleman who detests your motivation.
You know nothing.
You wish to be the one who would reveal this to the world.
Is that the golden knife? How?
I also like to dig, you see. I only followed your trail. Such a pity that there is always someone willing to steal your credit, wouldn't you say? And there was the chance of a lifetime. You had to take it. It was not to be shared. But now I am here, and there is no one who will stop the tread of justice, Mr. Blinkhorn. Goodbye.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid to raise a right.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right. I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson. Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
you mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else. He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw 2 others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were 3, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Did these 3 villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
Your ladyship? Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir. As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it. Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship? The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times. Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge. Antique coins.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was specially hard for her.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship. Sir Warthen Brackenstall. What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Lord Ramsay Brackenstall. Baron Lyndon Brackenstall. Lord George Brackenstall.
The body is still in the dining room where the murder took place.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow. That must be the murder weapon. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. Barefoot, it is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation. It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. A fur trader's cabin. A fur trader's cabin. The hunting scene. The hunting. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen. An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France. A bottle of wine is missing here. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware. Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear. A decanter standing. Chateau Calon-Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru. Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case. I agree with you, Toby, that what... search, Toby. The scent leads to the well. I should check it. Brave Toby. The best nose in the British Empire. The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route. Brave Toby. The best nose in the British Empire. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved. This hook might be useful. Bags of seed. Small gardening tools. Nothing of great interest. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it? If only I had something with which I could lift that object. If only I had something with which I could lift that object. The wheel handle is old and rusty. It seems to be used infrequently. The wheel handle is old and rusty. It seems to be used. If only I had something with which I could lift that object.
This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware. There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery. General. Here it is. The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist. Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893 and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
I left it right on the table for you, sir.
This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th. Captain Jack
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him. Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why. You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You? And what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear, and it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night. Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.